Hi! On this video we are going to create this new panel which has the mission of creating a new role. So let's go ahead and start. So let's first start by copy the markup for this panel from the notepad, and below the previous div I will create this div. If we look inside the div, we will find a form which has a text box called text new role and has a required field validator and has a button which has the text add, and this button has a validation group of role, and also the required field validator has a validation group of role. In order to separate the validation of this form from the validation of any other form existing on the page. Okay, now let's go and type the code for the button add role. So on click. So as usual, the first thing is dim db as new application db context. Dim my, or let's say dim new role as new identity role. And we will end up with an error here, as you should import something called Microsoft.ASP.NET.Identity.Entity framework. Okay, so when you import the entity framework, you can define a new role or even a new user. So you might type identity user if you want to define a new user. So in our case, we want to define a new role. Okay, this new role dot name will have the value of text new role dot text, then db dot roles dot add the new role, and don't forget db dot save changes. Okay, now let's rebuild our project. Let's go to our page and refresh it. Okay, let's first test. If we click on the add and the role field is empty, I will get this error. Okay, so let's add here a new role, for example called visitor, and then click on the add button. And at this moment we don't know if the role visitor has been really added to the roles list or not, as we have to refresh the page. So the next step will be to refresh this roles list after the user clicks the add button. But first let's go back to the users manager and delete these roles that we have just added. And by the way, the only reason which made me decided to put the add role panel inside the edit user page instead of the users manager page is that we only decide to add a new role when we have a user needs to be assigned to a role that doesn't exist. So the admin can add the new role and assign the user to it inside the same page. So let's now go here and try to fix this problem. Now you might think that I will add here checklist roles data bind, but remember that this will not be enough, because you will have to also check all the checkboxes that represent the roles that user belongs to, and copy all of these lines here. So instead of all those steps, I will write just a simple line of code which is response dot redirect request dot row URL. So this line of code will transfer me to the same page along with the same query string it might include. So let's save all and let's rebuild our project. Okay, and let's click on Hazem Khalil. Let's type here visitor. Let's click on the add button. Okay, now the page loaded from the beginning, and if you click refresh, you will not be given the confirmation of form resubmission, and this is what we want. But what will happen if we add the same role name again? you will get an error, as the ASP.NET roles table will not allow you to enter the same role name twice. So the only solution for such a problem is I will add the try clause here. So I will copy this code inside the try, and what will happen if the try failed? Before I answer this question, I will go to Notepad and I will copy this error panel and paste it just after the button add role. So this panel has the visibility set to false by default, and the enable view state also set to false, in order to automatically disappear once the form successfully sent. So let's type here on the code behind page panel error role exist dot visible equals true. Okay, so let's see what we will come up with. Let's refresh our page. Okay, let's type here visitor, click the add button. Okay, this is what we will get. Now let's type visitor1 for example. Success. If you don't type anything and you click the add, you will get an error. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please press like.